just struck me again this morning. And
yeah, it's encouraging.
God sees our hearts and blesses that. So
Yeah.
thank
So
you.
this morning, we're really excited to.
We are
We're
excited.
not speaking this morning, so that's even better. But better for you guys too. But this morning we have one of our guys, James, is going to be sharing something. Hi, James. You come to-
Hello.
Hi, James. Lovely to see you. We're really excited, James, about what you've got to share. We're just going to pray for you, James. Okay.
Can I say before we pray? This isn't a normal kind of preach, actually. No. So this is different this morning. And I put this morning, if you had the WhatsApp on your phone this morning, just with the church code, I did say this is something new and exciting. This, and I love that phrase because that's.
Sorry, that was Tim's phrase.
That's God's heart, isn't it? And his blessings are new every morning, and there's exciting things that He's got for us. But every so often, something newer and more exciting comes along, and we just feel this morning that actually we just wanted to share this. We've asked James to speak on just to bring something this morning which we really feel excited about as a leadership team, and we want the church family to get behind and feel excited about. Yeah. So that's just the context of this morning. James, bless him, hasn't been well, so we hope you're on the mend, James, for the family. But we just want to pray, and just, so let's do that.
Yeah. Father, I just want to thank you so much for James and for Katie and for Laurel. And I pray now that you would just bless James as he shares his heart with us as a church family. I pray that you would open our hearts and our minds and our ears, Lord, that we would hear from you this morning, and we would hear what you are doing in James's heart and Katie's heart, and the journey that you have us on as a church. In Jesus' name, amen. Bless you, James.
Amen. Thank you, guys. So good morning, everyone. For those who don't know, obviously my name's on the screen, Tim and Heidi have said, but I'm James. I'm husband to Katie and father to Laurel, and they are the two best people in the whole world. And Tim mentioned, I just want to thank everyone who prayed for us whilst we were ill. We actually did get COVID over Christmas, but we are definitely feeling a lot better and are on the mend now. So thanks for praying. I am originally from Middlesbrough in the northeast, but I've actually lived in Walsall now for 10 years, which seems absolutely mind-boggling that I've been here so long. But I've been part of WCC for that whole time that I've been here. I originally came to shadow Vic and travel with him for a year, and then I ended up staying. I don't know why, just the people, I guess. But Walsall is our home. We bought a house here. Katie moved up here when we got together, and we love this town. But over my time here, I've noticed that not everyone feels the same about Walsall. Not everybody loves this town. And I've become increasingly restless as I've seen people kind of complain about the town, and particularly the town centre, seeing that kind of fall into the decline. Sorry, I keep looking over here because my Zoom window is set up so that the people are over here, but the camera's there, so I'll try to look at the camera. As many of you guys know, Walsall hasn't always been kind of this down and out place that a lot of people describe it as. And I believe that we as a church are called to be part of the regeneration and restoration of the town, and calling for the kingdom of heaven to come on earth. And so that's what this new project is about that we're going to tell you about this morning, which is really new and exciting, as Tim said. But I want to kind of give you a bit of context and talk about where it all began. So it kind of began with a bit of a dream. For the last 10 years or so, since I've lived here, a lot of people in our community, in our small groups, in our wider community, we've had loads of different ideas of what we might do to reach people, something new to reach people in the town. And I personally have had a lot of dreams, like to set something up, to maybe start something, be part of setting something up from scratch. And I've got to a place in life where that's what I really want to do. And God's kind of brought everything together. So about a year ago, I felt stirred to reach out to our community on Facebook. and just kind of share my heart and say who's with me in this. And actually encouraged by Emma Hughes, who I didn't know was praying this morning, but she challenged me and said, you know, are you praying about this? Why don't we pray about this? And we started a prayer meeting that started to meet during the first lockdown back in March, April time. And we met every other week just to kind of pray into this idea. And we ended up kind of every couple of weeks prophesying and praying and sharing what we felt God was saying. And it was really encouraging. We felt like God just breathing life and hope over Walsall and giving us little signs along the way that he was really in this idea that we were talking about. And actually that it was his idea. We had lots of words where he was kind of taking ownership of it and saying, you're on the right lines here, guys. So sharing all of this with Tim and Heidi and the leadership, Oliver, my mentor, like they were able to kind of guide us and encourage us, you know, keep going, and eventually share a bit more of the heart and vision of our church, and also share about an exciting opportunity that was emerging, which is that the Vines restaurant which is the building next door to our church offices and just down the road from the gold mine. That building, that restaurant is becoming available for someone new to take on the space and do something new with it, which after a lot of research, months of planning, preparation, meetings as a team, meetings with the leadership, meetings with trustees, we've got to a place where we can finally share everything with you guys, and we're really excited to announce what the project is. So what is this exciting new project? I'm going to share my screen and show you. So just bear with me whilst I need to share a portion of my screen, because you don't want to see everything that's going on here. Portion of screen, share. Not that portion. This portion down here. No. Sorry, I should have tested this out. Share screen. How do I change? You know what? I can actually. Here we go. Can you guys see what I can see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. So the new exciting project is The Table, which is a new community coffee shop where everyone is welcome, no matter who you are or what you've done. You're invited in and given a seat at the table, which is very exciting. So, sorry, that screen sharing thing was throwing me off a little bit, but yeah. So what is The Table? The Table is going to be a high quality independent coffee shop ran by us, serving great quality coffee and baked goods right in the heart of Walsall, but more importantly, providing a physical space for us as a church and for the people of Walsall to call home and to be welcomed in and shown the love of God and the value that they deserve. We are looking to open the doors in April. So yeah, looking to open the doors in April. The table is going to have a genuine focus on people, creating opportunities for connection within a beautiful and safe environment and a positive and encouraging atmosphere. We want to host a program of regular events and groups and creative activities to cater to our needs as a community, but also to reach people in Walsall with new, exciting ideas and outreach programs. This cafe is for Walsall and by Walsall. So I really want this thing, as part of what I shared in the context section, that I really want this thing to stir up local pride. Like, I want people to be proud of Walsall. I want there to be somewhere that people can go, wow, Walsall's amazing, look at this great place, and be proud to bring people there. And we want it to be by Walsall by supporting local businesses and sourcing as many ingredients and supplies from our local area as possible, and really helping to elevate the profile of Walsall. And we also want to champion local creatives by selling locally made products in the retail space. And so it's, you know, we've been doing Spin to Win and we've been seeing some amazing things that you guys can make. And so it'd be cool if we could maybe champion that and encourage you guys to grow, but also reach out to other local creatives and also run creative events and workshops in one of our rooms, which will encourage creativity and networking and branching out and reaching out into the community. And then taking a bit of a wider approach, we want this coffee shop to be really sustainable and as ethical as possible. So we are ensuring that even through the operation of the business, we can contribute positively to the planet and to the world. And whether that means buying coffee from what's known as direct trade coffee farms, which you might not know or you might know, but that's a much better setup than fair trade. It's much better for the farmers and the people who grow it. It pays them better, and fair trade is actually not the best thing out there. So we want to be making sure that we're, operating ethically and fairly. Also using recycled or recyclable materials, and serving food and drinks that are like natural and good for you, free from artificial ingredients. So currently, where we're at, we've set this thing up as what's known as a CIC, a community interest company, which basically means that it's more like a charitable business. It's not a normal business that's out to make a lot of money, but it's a business that can only invest any potential profits back into the project, meaning reaching more people, doing more things for the community. So that's it, basically. That's it in a nutshell. That's the table at a coffee shop in Walsall that we can all get behind, and I'll go into more details about that. But I wanted to talk about why the name, the table, a little bit. There's a whole story around this. It's a preach within itself, so maybe they'll have me back to preach about it. But I just want to tell you a bit about where the name came from. So the nutshell version is that in the Bible, there is a story about a man called Mephibosheth. You heard me right. I didn't make a mistake. I said it right. Mephibosheth, who was the son of Jonathan and grandson of King Saul. Now, Mephibosheth couldn't walk because of an accident that he had as a child, which means that he probably wasn't very favorably treated back in those days, the scary Old Testament days. He probably wasn't treated very well at all. And basically, years later, after all this had happened and he was grown up, and once David was king, he invited this man, Mephibosheth, to come and eat in the palace, or whatever it was called, at his table for the rest of his life. But not because of anything that Mephibosheth had done, but because King David was friends with his father, Jonathan. Are you tracking with me? So he was given a seat at the table, despite being looked down upon by society, despite like, kind of being not at the top of the ladder, so to speak. Not because of anything that he did to earn it, but because of who his father was. And that's just like us. We're invited in to the kingdom of God. We're given opportunities. We're given a seat at the table, not because we earned it, but because of who our Father in heaven is and what he did for us through Jesus. So that's why we've called it the table, because we believe that everyone, that people are important and that everyone deserves to be given a seat at the table. So before I talk a bit more about what this is going to look like, I'll just stop sharing my screen so you can see me. I want to talk a bit more about like the voice of God in all of this. And, Emma said God ties things together, and he has done that this morning. And I really feel like the voice of God's being prioritized this morning as part of our service. And that's a really great confirmation for me, because I had this whole section about the voice of God. And so throughout this whole process so far, from the birth of the idea, the conception of the idea to praying about it and everything, God's voice is being extremely clear, which is great, because this is a huge change for me and for our family. I'll be heading up this project, which is going to be awesome, but I'm sure it's going to be challenging as well. And not to mention, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Some might think that it's not the right time to start a business in the hospitality sector. In fact, it probably couldn't be a worse time. But we have heard God, and we are trusting him. Little things like the landlords, the people who own the building and run it, giving us an amazing deal on the rent, and even pushing our lease start date back to April, which we hope means the vaccine rollout will be in full flow. You know, I read that the government are expecting 12.12 million people to have been vaccinated by mid-Feb, and that's hopefully going to be the case and increasing. So we're trusting God, and we're doing things as quickly but as safely as possible, you know, following all relevant guidelines and stuff. You know, these are uncertain times, and never having done anything like this before, you know, me personally or us as a church really, we've heavily relied on God's voice. And through the things that he said, we've got to a point, and I've got to a point where I know with confidence that this is what he wants us to do. This is what he wants me to do, for us to do as a family, and for our church family to do. And I just want to give a really quick example. I sent out a text to a load of friends, Christian friends from around the country, back when I was kind of making one of the biggest decisions regarding this project. Like, do I go for it or not, essentially? And I just said to them, I'm facing a big choice in life at the moment. I didn't give them any context. They didn't have a clue about anything. But can you just speak to God, ask if he's got anything to say to me, and let me know, basically. No pressure, just let me know if he says anything. And I got a text back from a friend who said, I'm not sure why, but I just feel like whatever this is means you're going to be like leaving your job and starting something new. And I was just like, well, mind blown. It was just madness. So yeah, just little things like that God's been doing throughout the whole process. I could talk about so many. But that's what God does. He speaks, and there is light in the darkness. We find hope in uncertainty. He speaks boldness and confidence when we feel weak and afraid. And he often says things that seem completely crazy to us. You know, in the Bible, he told Gideon that he was a mighty warrior and that he was going to strike down the enemy, even though he was from a weak family and thought of himself as being the least out of all of them. God's word doesn't always make sense to us, but it's truth and it can ignite hope. And I actually wanted to interrupt my talk a little bit to give God the chance to do that right now, to speak to us as a family, maybe to some of you personally. So what I did was I asked Adam to ask God for a word for someone without knowing who that word was for. And he sent me a voice note with the word, and I'm going to share that word with you all now. And I believe that this is for someone or maybe a few people specific in our church. But if it resonates with you, then let me know at the end, because I'll send you the full version of what Adam said. I've kind of summed it up here. But yeah, are you ready to hear a word from God? So this is what Adam said. I saw you standing on a big boat in the middle of the sea. Waves were crashing over the boat, and it felt a little bit out of control, like things weren't okay. There was a storm happening all around. And there was a moment where you, this person, whoever the word's for, where you were crying out to God, asking, why has this thing not happened? Or why am I not where I'm supposed to be? You felt frustrated because you'd worked so hard and given so much of yourself, yet didn't feel satisfied or like you were in the position that you were supposed to be in. And then separately, Adam had a dream which he felt linked, where there was this black cat in the dream, which represented a huge lie from the enemy. And or either a lie or a specific scenario in your life that you're faced with. And you feel like this cat has been following you around for a long time. This lie or this scenario has been following you around for a long time. But Adam felt that God was crushing the lie and that there was going to be an injection of heaven. And God is going to restore passion to your heart, and it's going to explode. Your heart is going to explode, and there'll be rivers of passion flowing out of you. You don't need to worry about the process, and loads of good things are coming. Okay, so that's the word from God that God gave Adam. So if you feel like that's for you, please do get in touch with me after this, and I can send you the full voice note. And there's like a prayer that Adam does, a prayer for the person, and some encouragement too. So powerful, isn't it? God's voice is powerful, and we've experienced that throughout this project so far. That through the prayer meeting that we held last year, There were many things that God said to us that really gave us confidence that we were on the right lines and gave us hope for Walsall and for this project. And I just want to share a few of them now. Haley had a word that this project, this idea was like a key that is going to open up doors, but lots of doors that the church has wanted to see open for a long time. Adam also had a word about like lots of sugar bowls, and there was this golden sugar bowl, and it wouldn't smash. It was strong, and it wasn't like it didn't smash in the picture, and that really spoke to us about how like this God is saying like, this is my idea. I'm going to look after it. It's not going to smash. Hannah Tolley had a word about this place being a real place of belonging, somewhere that feels like family. And Emma Hughes had a word about it drawing people into it as well. Holly Rossington had a word about the cafe and those working there, that they are going to embody the Father's heart for Walsall. And Vicky even had a word about like chocolate being poured into molds and the molds being reused, which just feels really significant for me, given the rich history that the Vine has in that building and what they've done over the years. So yeah, that was just a really short, small selection of the things that we heard from God. And I do just want to thank everyone who came along to those prayer meetings and journeyed so far. You're much appreciated. And we'll be talking a bit later on about how everyone can get involved if they want. So make sure you're listening up later. But yeah, God's fingerprints has been all over this, from professionals offering to do design work or surveys, construction for free. Even non-Christian people just saying, yeah, I want to get behind this vision. Divine conversations had with people that it turns out I've got loads of mutual connections with them. Or like I said earlier, the lease agreement, having favour with that. Tim said to me right at the start, when I first went to the Vine to look around with Tim and Heidi, he said, God is a God of double portions. And that's exactly what we're experiencing so far with this project. So what's it going to look like? I'm going to show you some visuals of what we want it to look like. As I said, we're working with some professional designers and interior designers from a firm in Birmingham called Faber, who are helping us out to kind of get it right. But I'll give you an idea of the look that we are going for. So again, share screen. Share. Cool. So we want it to look really beautiful, light, full of light, a really peaceful space, and using like natural materials, natural woods, and yeah, just it having a sense of order and peace and light to it. We want there to be space for people to kind of come and bring a laptop maybe and work if they are freelance or work from home or something like that. And also there to be kind of comfy seating options for people to come and meet with people and build relationship. And there'll also be a multi-purpose room in the back where we hope you guys will really get involved with helping us run various different groups or craft sessions. So in the future, you might be attending like an art session there, or a book club, or you might come to a baby group or a men's meetup or a music event, who knows? And I'm sure you guys probably have loads more ideas. So again, later on, I'll talk about how you can share those with me. But yeah, I think this is exciting. This is the bit I love because I'm from a design background, looking at kind of what the space can look and feel like, and how that can really bring a sense of heat and order to people. So what does it mean for us as a church family? This for me is the most exciting bit. This project so far, like in everything we've done to set up so far, it's been in line with our church's vision. We're setting up the CIC, which is connected to the church. It's not just a church coffee shop. It's its own standalone business, but it's linked legally to our church, which means we want to be fulfilling the vision of our church, to reach people, to love people, to share the greatness of God with people. And I just want to spend some time talking about what it means for us as a church, but also maybe for you individually listening. So this is a new and exciting, fresh and exciting opportunity in our church to serve. We can't do this without you guys. Certainly can't do it on my own, or even just with one or two pairs of hands. You know, this is going to be a family team effort. Whether it's helping with the refurb stage, building, that kind of thing, or offering your skills or your knowledge in this area, or even working, volunteering in the cafe once we're setting up, helping in the kitchen, or just coming and being a friendly face to welcome people and to share hospitality with people. We need to come together as a body to make this work. We're going to be really heavily reliant on you guys, on teams and volunteers. And my heart is for the table and the teams within it to be a family. I want us to be known for how we love each other, honor each other, and respect each other, and the way we serve our customers and interact with them. I really believe that everyone who gets involved and is kind of on team, so to speak, is going to find so much joy doing so. Like, it's an honor to serve. It really is. There's joy in service, and we get to do that for our local community. Moving on, obviously, people are important is a huge thing in our church. It's been at the center of what we've done ever since this church began, and the table gives us a new expression of that, a new ethos for us to get behind, providing like a safe space to share Jesus with people, and even pray with people or help them on their journey of discovering Christ. Excuse me. You know, our church hasn't really had a space quite like this before. And what I believe it does is give us a really exciting opportunity to explore and dream about all the possibilities for what this space could be used for. We've already had like loads of ideas, like I mentioned, baby groups, craft sessions, homework club, music events, etc. But I'm sure there'll be loads more ideas out there. And I want to ask you guys, what do you see us doing here? What do you have any ideas? Do you have an idea of a group or a club that would work really well in this context? Or have you wanted to start something but you've just not really known how? Let me know. And yeah, like, really, it's just so exciting, like, because we have the opportunity here to create something, to create a home to invite people into. Our church had never really had its own building that we, you know, fully have use of 24/7. But this gives our church a beating heart right in the middle of town. That's open all week, not all week every day, but most of the week, not just on a Sunday morning. Or, you know, the odd evening event. It's somewhere that'll be open during the day. It'll be somewhere that you can bring people and kind of create a sense of community there. And it's neutral ground as well. That's not too intimidating. You know, non-Christians might be scared of coming to church. They might not want to step foot on to a big scary church meeting. They've never been to church before or something. But they'd come out for a cup of coffee with you. They'd meet you. They'd come to this space, and this is the space we get to cultivate the atmosphere and set the tone for God to move in that place. And also, just to mention, our church really doesn't. The offices are used for things, but they don't really have like an accessible face. So this gives like a good face, so to speak, for a lot of the other services that we run in our church, like money advice or counselling, things like that. And another exciting thing is that we really believe this is going to be a great space for our youth, somewhere that they can call home as well. So you guys in the youth, if you're listening, I can't see everyone on screen, but like, we really want you guys to get hold of this and use this space for your own like journeys together as well. And also we'll give a good space for kind of mentoring relationships to be encouraged and flourish in a safe environment. And there may also be opportunities for like work experience, or skills training, stuff like that. And finally, I just wanted to kind of end by saying that this project is actually an answer to prayer. Our church leaders have been praying over the last few years for God to stir people's hearts to find new ways of reaching our local community. And so I really want to make clear that this is not like a project by me, or it's not about me. It's not even about the prayer meeting that was run last year. This is about all of us. It's about all of you guys. It's for those of you who have a heart for blessing people and reaching people. It's for those of you who have the gift of hospitality. It's for those of you who love good coffee and good baked goods and amazing hot chocolates. It's for those of you who want to see Walsall alive again. It's for those of you who have a heart for people who are lonely and isolated. Or maybe you feel lonely and isolated. This space is for you too. For those of you who want a new way to express yourself through creative art or music or crafts. And it's for those of you who want to reach new groups of people, but you've not known quite how or where to do that yet. This is for all of us. And it could be transformational in the way that we operate as a church, giving us a new big mission to get involved with and serve together. So it's really exciting. I hope you can sense how excited I am. Tim and Heidi are the team. We're really, really excited for what God's going to do through this space. So that's pretty much what I've got to share. I did just want to share quickly now ways that you guys can get involved and support us right from this moment. So again, share my screen. So yeah, you can pray, serve, give, or engage. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I mean by all of those. So prayer, we need lots of prayer help. We've been praying, obviously, as I've said, and we'll be continuing that prayer group. But if you can't make that, we still need as much prayer as possible. Prayer for things like this design process we're in now, design and build, for good relationships to be made with suppliers, for the right people to run the events and to attend the groups and stuff like that. For COVID to back down, we need prayer for money. We're going to be applying for a number of grants through various different channels, and we need to pray for financial favor. The more money we get, the more we can do with it and the more people we can reach. If you want to be added into that prayer group that I've talked about, then get in touch at the end. My details will be at the end. But yeah, that's the kind of prayer. Serve. If you are handy, good with power tools or a paintbrush, we need a team of volunteers to help us with the refurb stage. And that even includes just kind of clearing the space, moving things about, tips for the trip, or, stuff like that. And get the table ready for the public in April, hopefully. We need people who are ready to start helping us kind of as soon as possible. But if you know in a few months you've got some free time or whatever, just get in touch and let us know how you can volunteer. This work does class as work that cannot be done from home, and under UK government guidelines, you're still allowed to work or volunteer if the work cannot be done from home. So we're doing the appropriate risk assessments, buying safety equipment, and making sure that appropriate measures are in place so that anyone who does volunteer is looked after and is, that we're operating in a way that's COVID secure. Just to say that, if anyone was wondering. And then also we need people to serve by volunteering in the cafe once we're open. And there'll be loads more specifics about that in the future that we don't have right now. But, if this is something you're interested in, have a think about what your capacity looks like from April and what you might want to help out with. Giving, I mentioned earlier, with the need to pray for money and for financial favour. There's going to be information given by church leadership about this at a later date. But if you feel prompted by the Holy Spirit, then I want to be bold and ask you to listen to him and ask, how can I help here? But yeah, Tim and Heidi will tell us more about that in the future. And engage. If you aren't able to volunteer your time, as a brand new business, we're still going to need as much support and engagement from you guys as possible. As many of you guys coming in to buy teas and coffees and hot chocolates, or bringing your friends and just supporting us in any way that you can. And then we'll also need engagement with you guys on social media. So I'll put the details up at the end. But yeah, just get involved, share it, all that kind of stuff. That's really important in this day and age. And then, as I've mentioned earlier, if you've got ideas, thoughts, dreams, visions that you want to share about this project, then please do. We really welcome them. The best way to do that will be by contacting me either via email or via the social media platforms that I'll put up on the end screen. And I'd love to be able to spend time with all of you to talk this through, but you know, we don't have all the hours there's not that many hours in the day or in the week. So it'll be really useful if I could have all your thoughts and dreams written down, because then I can kind of go back to them and collate them and stuff like that. And the last thing for me to say, I am finished now. I know I've talked for a long time. Thank you so much for listening. Is thank you. Yeah. Thank you to Katie and to Tim and Heidi, Oliver and Ben for like supporting my journey in this over the last 6 months. And thank you to the prayer group, especially Emma, who is, as you've seen this morning, such a faithful and fervent prayer warrior. And thank you to our trustees who signed off on this project. And thank you to all of you guys, our church family, for listening this morning. And thank you in advance for your support in making this dream become a reality. We're really excited and can't wait to get started.
Yeah. James, thank you so much. If we could give you a clap now, I think we would. If we were in the gold mine, we're clapping anyway. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this morning. And I just want to say a special thank you to James and Katie, and just to honour them both really for the ways in which they have really sought God in this. And we just want to honour you both for that. And I think if you're excited, we're excited too. You might pick that up, guys. If you talk to us about this, we're very excited, aren't we, about it, to be honest. And as you're talking, my heart's going, oh, this is so good. This is going to be so good. And just want to say, you know, on the hearing God bit, I loved what you did in the middle. And I think God's voice is really, really important in this. And just to say, before any of this happened, well over a year ago, I'd had a dream. And you know this, James, but I'll share it with others. I'd had a dream about being in a place that I used to work in, and I wasn't sure where it was at first. And then I sat down, and in the dream there was a round pub table. It was with the metal legs underneath, like an old pub table. And I put my hand under the table, and under the table on the undersurface was treasure, like gold and jewels. And I said to the Lord, oh, what's this about? And I felt the Lord saying that there's a place that you used to work in, and I realized it was the vines, because the vines, that was the table I was holding. There's a place you used to work in, and you've left a deposit of treasure there. Anyway, when I woke up in the morning, and I couldn't get this dream out of my head, and I prayed about it over the months, and just felt, I knew it was the vines, but didn't make any sense. I'm not going to take on a job in the vines. I'm working for Walsall Community Church. What is the Lord saying, you know? And then we moved offices into the back of the vines, September a year ago, the year before. And the day I didn't want to go, and the day we moved in, I loved our offices in the gold mine. I was a reluctant mover. I put my box on the table and I said out loud, I've come home. I used to work in the vine 30 years ago this year as a waitress, voluntary. The project was fairly new then, and it was run by the churches in Walsall. And it was a really important part of my life. And the Lord reminded me in that moment of the dream. And he said to me, you've left a deposit of treasure here that I'm going to give you back. Anyway, as between September and the pandemic, which wasn't that long, I had lots of coffee in the vine. I think I kept them going during that period of time. I'd meet lots of people in there. And one day I was in there with Adam, and I said, Adam, we're going to be given this place. I just know it. And I'd said it to Tim, I said it to one or two people, I feel like we're going to get the vines, but I was thinking in 5 or 10 years time, I was not thinking now. And before we knew it, we were being offered that space during the pandemic. And just to say, you know, that's not the only word. We've had lots of very clear words from God, some from his word, some from external people, some from within our team, where God has clearly said, this is the thing and this is now, which we know, and as James picked up, it makes no logical sense. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. But isn't this what our God does? And isn't this where we step into faith?
So James, bless you for what you've shared this morning, for your faithfulness. You know, one of the things that really struck me was, you know, you haven't just launched out on this on your own. This has been a very godly walk.
Yeah.
And we just bless you and honor you for that. We honor you for the fact that you've stepped out in faith, you know, that you've, we just bless you for it, and really feel as a leadership team. This is a church project that James will head up, and we feel very excited about what's coming. Like James has said, there's a number of things that we need to pray for. We need to pray as the project begins, that God will really speak to you, us, you know, as a church family. As James has said, this is a church project, and it's something like we've never done before. So that actually, as the need arises, people will fill the gaps. But also there is financial consideration. Obviously, we're taking this on as a church family, and we do want people to pray seriously about it, about what they feel called to give. You know, it's not cheap. You know, we'll share over the coming weeks what we're the sort of figures that we're talking about. But actually, we've got faith. We've got faith to believe that when God calls us to do something, actually, he provides. You know, we've seen it time and time again. It's a biblical principle, and we know what that's going to happen. So we just would ask you to pray about your role in that, whatever that looks like. Also, just I'm sure there'll be questions that people have got. You know, we've asked lots and lots of questions.
We certainly have, James.
Over the months. I just want to just to reinforce the fact that James, there's a team around James that has been for a while. So Heidi and I are involved with that. Oliver, Ben, and also
Charlie will be coming on board.
And we've got Matt Heaton as well as part of the trustees. So there's a team of people, you know, just to support and help with this as we move forward. We also, obviously, as a leadership team, you know, with Chris and Dave as well. So there's some
James's
contact details.
I'll put them up at the end. This is just how you guys can get in touch with me, whether it's through Facebook, The Table Walsall, or Instagram, The Table Walsall. You can send messages via those things, or you can email me at james@thetablewalsall.co.uk.
Wonderful. Thanks, James.
Great. And if you've got any questions that you want to send to us, you know, Tim and Heidi, or the leadership team as well, then, you know, please do feel free. But actually, I guess the key message of this morning is that obviously this is coming, but also actually, as James has said, this is our thing for our church, and that's you. You know, that is you as an individual praying about what it is that you feel the Lord wants you to do for this. So yeah, really excited. James, bless you for what you shared.
Thank you.
Glad you guys are feeling better as well.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, great.
Bless you all.
Thank you. I think it'd be good to pray.